about some obvious things. I have some guests, so let's go ahead. Let me go ahead and turn that on. And whoops, sorry, got to share screen first. And present my entire screen. Select, share, and everybody should see my full screen. And Kevin, are you seeing the whole screen?
I see you, but not your screen.
Okay, you see the full screen. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
So at the New Haven section, professional section for the ASME student, not student group, the ASME professional section, we've started a professional development series, and today is one of them. How do you search for mechanical engineering jobs? For some of you, that's pretty obvious. You've already searched. Some of you, perhaps not so obvious. Today, we've got Kevin Jalber, the chair of the professional section, Matt Kleidman, the professional development chair of the section, and myself, Sam Daniels, the secretary for the New Haven professional section, also the faculty advisor for the University of New Haven section. And we also have with us our special guest, Dina Walensky, our associate director for career development from the University of New Haven, to answer some questions if you have them. For those of you online, Kevin will unmute you when we get to that point. And those who are present, we've got about 20 people present in here. You can just come up to the podium and ask questions. So we're going to go through a fairly straightforward here, how to find jobs. So we'll go through that. And where do we search for jobs? So the places that we like and we recommend, and this is specific to just the professional section and our experience in applying for jobs, would be Monster, Glassdoor, Career Builder, Indeed, and LinkedIn. So each one of those is very straightforward to apply for jobs. Nothing complicated if you're applying for a job and you've been working for a while and you haven't applied, or if you are just starting out and applying for a job as well, no problem. We do suggest that you watch out for those sites that are asking for personal information. Those tend to sell your personal information about you. These 5 sites we've had good luck with, and our colleagues in ASME also say they're pretty reliable sites for doing job searches. Okay, but the best alternative is always see if you can find the company website and apply directly to the company if you have a specific interest in that company. That's always the best choice. So our first choice to talk about is Monster. Now, like all companies, they have the standard search sites for looking for jobs, or you can look for new employees of your company. Also, job title and location searches. They do allow you to search specifically for distance or remote jobs, which is kind of a nice feature. You don't need an account at monster.com, but you do need to upload a resume if you intend to apply for a job. So you can search all the different jobs and peruse through it totally anonymously, which I kind of like about Monster. And they also have some nice salary tools and career advice. So you can actually look and get suggestions about how to write a good resume, how to focus yourself for a job interview, what kind of interview questions you might expect. We just had somebody ask me a few days ago exactly this about an interview. They're doing an interview at Pratt & Whitney on Monday, a little nervous about it. So for Monster, you can see it's very, very simple. We'll run a little 30-second video here. And, whoops, sorry. Let me pause that. Sorry, technical problems right off the bat. I have to remember to, for this guy to max. Okay. It's exactly what we said would happen last time, right, Kevin? So we want to maximize the video. So I see what I got to do. I got to get out of the presentation. And then here, I think we said we have to, maximize it when I'm out of the presentation. So here we go. So this is monster.com, very easy. You don't need an account. You just go ahead, sign in, put New Haven area in. And then in addition, you can go ahead and refine your search a little bit. So you can use the filter on the right, and it only has the amount of time, a month, and then the locale about 50 miles away. You can do that. And we came up with quite a few jobs. It doesn't list the number of jobs, but there are quite a few with the different days. So very easy to do and very simple. Takes just a few seconds to do that. So the next one we have is Career Builder. Career Builder also similarly very simple. You can do the same features, search features as in Monster. You also can look specifically at contract, seasonal temp, some nice features in the refining of the kind of job you want. The nice feature, they have the easy apply feature, allows you to apply for multiple jobs at the exact same time. Most of the other job sites don't allow you to do that. It's one job at a time. So that's a great thing about that. Salary tools, again, cover letters, no account required for jobs, but of course you've got to have an account if you want to apply for those jobs, and you need to upload a resume or fill out a form. No surprise there. Now for the Career Builder, again, for the Career Builder, we can go full screen there. Very simple to do it. Here it is, an anonymous search for mechanical engineer in the New Haven site. You can just get to that site, do a search. Now you can do some refinement. That already picked up quite a few, 84 jobs, 30 days, nice within 30 days, 50 miles. And there you go. Now that was 124 jobs in the greater New Haven area. Now you'll notice the numbers are going to be a little different between the different search engines. And that's because not all companies are using the same search engines. Now, Glassdoor is a little different. Glassdoor requires you to have an account. So they do the same kind of search features, but you've got to have an account because it has company ratings, which is pretty interesting. In fact, I tried to apply for opened up Glassdoor just a few minutes ago before the presentation. It says, tell me about your last job when I was an engineer at United Technologies, and what was my salary back then. So if I think back in 1988, when I left UTC, I'm like, what was my salary back then? You know, I'm going to put that in there maybe. No, they won't take it. They only go back 5 years, I think, for salary information, but they want that information for you to do that. You can look at, they have an easy apply feature, and you can also get information about the different company ratings from former employees, whether that's reliable or not. Who knows? Hopefully it is. It's got those 4 tools that has a company search, salary search, career search, and job search, which is nice. Others have fewer tools. So again, a nice, Glassdoor has some advantages, but you've got to give them information, and it's got to be an identified account. A little different from the others. So here's Glassdoor, and I think that Kevin or Matt joined. Matt did. Matt signed up and logged into his account on Glassdoor to do the search. So now he's identifying himself, and they're collecting this information so they know. Now, we don't concern ourselves too much with this because we've had positive feedback from those using Glassdoor that it's not a problem identifying yourself. So, and they ended up with quite a few job postings there, and there we go. It came back, took a while. 130 positions when we did this original search a little bit over a month ago, and it's got some of those details there. So pretty nice, pretty good result, but again, a little different than the other 2 for those. Oh, he's going to change the date. So you can also control when the posting was made, recent or within the last month, in the 50 mile, and that ends up still 150, still a good number of job postings. So you can see nothing too complicated with that one for Glassdoor. So that's Glassdoor. LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is interesting because it has the greatest connection to recruiters because LinkedIn is obviously it's a community site where you sign in, you have your own account. Now you can add a lot of extra search criteria that you can't on the other sites. It allows you to turn on job alerts, which is awesome. You can get email alerts. If you're looking for a particular job, you can actually make some connections and talk to the job recruiters directly through the LinkedIn. They can actually look at your profile, but that means you got to set up a LinkedIn profile and show yourself. So I've got a LinkedIn profile. I slapped one together really fast just to look at it. You can upload a resume, but you can fill in a profile with similar information to the resume on there. And it's also got the same kind of tools as well. It does, however, take on the role of a social site though. So it is going to be sending you information even after you find a job. It's going to continue to try and link you to other people. How many of you have used LinkedIn already before? Okay, just about everybody's done that. Good. At least here, those of us joining us in the on the presentation, some of you may not have. So LinkedIn, again, not too complicated. Again, you don't have to sign in, but it usually asks you to. I can't get through this site without logging in when I do the search, but Matthew was able to do that. So New Haven, again, New Haven County, to take a look at the jobs with a 50-mile range. So the initial search has to be refined down. 25 miles is the default. Okay, and then from any time the past month, and there's about 120, 130 job difference. So so the job, obviously, some of these jobs were a little bit older. 300 positions on LinkedIn compared to 150 and 130 on some of the others. So you can see the numbers are quite different with the different sites. So companies are going to all of these different sites to use their search tools, their job tools. Okay, let me get out of this and go. Now, Indeed, our last one is Indeed. So Indeed, again, has the additional search criteria, all the standard functionality. It actually has a little blue arrow that'll tell you under the estimated salary, and it has some salary tools to help you figure out what you should be making. I'll talk a little bit about salary, by the way, based on this. Again, same as the others, no account required to find the jobs, but if you want to apply, you need an account to set up. And it has the standard 3 tools as well: find jobs, company reviews, and salaries. The same kind of tools as well. Okay. So again, Indeed, no big deal. This one looks exactly like the others. You log into the site, you do a little search, and interestingly enough, there's a lot of other sites. When you try and find Indeed, it actually tries to push you to other sites for this. So you go to New Haven, and then you can refine your job search after you get to New Haven. You have a lot of different refinement features up at the top, which is very nice for this one. Full-time, 50-mile range is usually what I set as a standard for this. It's already 568 jobs. No distinction, but there are gradations of remote or local jobs as well. And that's a lot of jobs, 568. Now, my guess is that more than half of them are not mechanical engineering jobs, and they're just advertising jobs. I've seen that reviewing detailed sites and looking at their job postings. You'll see some of them are not for mechanicals, they're for electricals, for quality, for manufacturing engineers, for all these other disciplines. So you got to filter yourself. So if you see that huge number coming up as a job search result, you know that you're seeing other postings or advertising. When I've gone through a couple of these sites in preparation before this presentation, I'd see lots of sites come up, companies come up in front, and they're obviously advertising the company and trying to get you to consider the company first before other companies when you apply, which is very smart, by the way, very smart and not unexpected. Okay, so when you go to these sites and you take a look at those job postings, well, it's going to take, you're going to have to dissect what you see and make sense of it. So we've got Matt and Kevin are going to give us their assessment of what they see with these job postings. Matt's going to tell us about the entry-level posts. We got a couple entry-level posts, and then Kevin's going to tell us a little bit about the advanced posts. So for the entry-level post, Matt, you want to go ahead and take it and talk about this one?
Yep. Thanks, Sam. Hello, everyone. So this one is an entry-level post from Glassdoor. So we have the important parts of this post highlighted in different colors here. On the top left, you can see the employer. And before you go and apply to any job posting, you should make sure you do your research on the employer that you're applying to. So this one is Burns and McDonnell, which is an engineering firm that's based in Kansas City, Missouri. But this job is actually located in Wallingford, as you can see underneath there. And underneath that, you can see the salary estimate for this position. this salary estimate actually has a pretty wide range, being of 35,000 difference. So that could maybe tell you that they're expecting entry-level applicants or mid-level applicants. Underneath this, we see the responsibilities for this position. They say to assist in mechanical design of projects from the conceptual phase through the design completion, assist with modifying and reviewing production drawings, assist in designing mechanical components, assist, applies basic knowledge of commonly used mechanical engineering or design concepts, assist with research and complies project related data, assists with correcting and updating drawings. And so basically all these mentioned to assist. Basically you'd be assisting the PE in this position. Next, we see the qualifications on the right. The ones in red are required by this company, and the ones in yellow are mostly preferred. So the first one we see is Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering from an ABET accredited program. And underneath that, we see again that they're looking for ABET accredited programs. So that should tell you that this is very important. And it says the successful completion of the FE exam. So that tells you that this is probably a position where they want you to eventually become a PE and possibly to sign off on documentation. Then underneath that, we see the preferred qualifications. So again, it lists completion of the FE, strongly preferred. Then minimum GPA, prior internship experience, involvement on campus or in the community. And then under this, we see more required qualifications, basic knowledge in standard mechanical engineering techniques, written and verbal communication skills, ability to work methodologically and analytically, computer skills, AutoCAD, Revit, 3D rendering programs, hydraulic analysis, HVAC analysis programs, strong attention to detail, leadership skills, and must be legally authorized to work in the US, so that one's important. And so basically, if you don't fit all of these computer skill requirements, you should still apply to this position. Even if you could know some of them, should probably still apply. Sam, you got anything else for this one?
That's great, man. I think the HVAC is a clear indicator that it's a PE HVAC, and it's building construction design approval cycles and evaluation. So it's clearly HVAC oriented, and that's a mechanical HVAC. Thank you. Let's move on to the next one then. So this one is from Indeed. The other one is Monster, Medtronic, North Haven. Matt.
Yep. So again, first thing you should do is research this company, Medtronic. It's a medical technology and device company. This job is located in North Haven, as Sam said. This salary range is a little bit smaller than the last one, so they're probably just looking for entry level. And then again, on the right, we see in purple responsibilities, evaluates failures based on established criteria to determine root cause and failure points, supports new equipment installation, modification, upgrade, and maintenance at the site, helps maintain up-to-date prints, drawings, and schematics, establishes programs and solutions for increasing uptime for equipment, participate in engineering meetings, assist with the evaluation of validation protocols. So basically, a lot of these are points towards being a product or manufacturing engineer. You're probably working under a more experienced engineer as well here, assisting operations as a tactical support, advise management of any unexploited opportunities. So basically, you'd also be doing more towards what's the word I'm looking for? Optimization.
Yeah, cost reduction. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's manufacturing cost reduction, part reduction costs. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The preferred is a clear giveaway, Matt. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So then underneath that, we see the qualifications again. In red is the only one that's required is to have a bachelor's degree and 0 years of experience. So this is a true entry level position. None of that is everything else that's nice to have preferred. Bachelor's degree in mechanical or electrical engineering, 3D CAD, SolidWorks, AutoCAD Pro E, introduction to electrical controls, entry level experience in PLC, data acquisition systems, and then again, all a bunch of entry level experience. So this one is a true entry level position.
So I'll have to point out, if I might interject, Matt, there a little bit. The fact that they add electrical, mechanical, and then they list specifically tooling design, and then electrical control stuff, to me means they would consider, you know, a variety of different types of people. So this may actually be trying to cover the hiring of multiple types of people. So they'd be much more flexible than the list of skill sets shown. So it does imply quite a bit if you read into the posting a little bit. Thank you so much, Matt.
Right, thanks,
Let's
Sam.
take a look at the next one. This is from a LinkedIn post. Matt?
Yep, LinkedIn entry-level post again. So again, top left, you see Rome is the employer, the chemicals company based in Germany. Again, do your research. Located in Wallingford. This one was posted 2 weeks ago. This is what it tells you. So you should look out for when a job was been posted, because if you see that it's been sitting there for a long time, it may indicate that a company is being very picky, or their responsibilities are very important to them, so they're being really picky with their applicants. Underneath that, again, the salary estimate, this basic range seems entry level. And to the right, purple, responsibilities. Define problems associated with projects and or specific incidents and the presentation of logical, economical solutions of the same. Prepare concise, well-written reports. Orderly and rapid completion of projects assigned in the most economical and timely manner. Supervision and control of all personnel working on assigned projects. Ensure that they are completed satisfactorily. Ensure that cost overruns are avoided in all projects assigned. Basically, again, this one's kind of similar to the last one, dealing with optimization of projects and ensuring that projects run smoothly. Underneath this, you could see in red the requirements. Again, bachelor's degree in engineering, 0 to 3 years of experience, excellent written and oral communication skills, human relation skills, capable of managing budgets and timelines. Not much in the requirements here. Again, true entry-level position since 0 years of experience. And yeah, Sam, anything else?
Great. Yeah, thank you, Matt. I think if you note, the company makes methacrylic chemicals, which are part of a lot of different epoxies and glues and that kind of thing. So it's likely they're doing a lot of small production chemical runs, and they got chemical engineers and chemists and others working together. And the mechanicals is needed there for helping with the whole process to smooth it out. My brother happens to be a chemie, does lots of small production runs. So I don't know if he competes with Rome, but I've seen it. For the mid-level posts, we've got Kevin's going to give us a little bit of his insight on the mid-level posts. Our first one is from Monster. Kevin?
Yeah, so the first thing on this post, once again, is we're going to look at the employer, although this time it's a little bit different. I Googled this GCR technical staffing, and if you look them up online, they're a recruiter or a job agency. So basically, whoever the actual employer is hired this GCR company to try to recruit people. So if you apply for this job, what will happen is they'll look at your resume. If they think that you're a good fit for the company, then they'll forward your information on to the company. You'll talk to them directly. Otherwise, they'll filter you out. So that's just kind of an extra step. One thing to note, that dealing with an engineering recruitment firm, usually the employer will pay for the recruitment firm, so there's no fee for you utilizing their services. So definitely if somebody reaches out to you on LinkedIn about an engineering job, it's not like you'll be expected to pay anything. In this case right here, we see that it's a contract position, so it will last 12 to 18 months, and it's full-time. And it's hybrid of being both online and in person. So for this one, you're designing mechanical parts and assemblies for lasers. You're going to be designing sheet metal, machine parts. You're going to be doing some solid modeling, creating sub-assemblies, doing some tolerancing, collaborating with vendors and fabrication of mechanical parts. And then you're going to design fixtures. So basically, this position is a design engineer. You're going to be working on lasers, and you'll be working on design engineering. For required experience, you would need a bachelor's degree for this position. One thing to note that's a little bit different here is that this job is requiring 7 years of relevant work experience, so it's definitely not entry level. And they expect that you have prior experience designing mechanical parts. One moment.
Sure. All right, great. Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah,
Sounds
there was
like
some
we have-
background noise there, but I took care of that. So
Okay, great.
Yeah, and going on, since this is a mid-level position, they want you to have some prior experience with CAD and understand mechanical tolerancing, GD&T, and being comfortable working with machine shops and FEA.
This
Yep,
this seems
Sam.
like a lot when I look at a posting, Kevin. This seems
Mhm.
like an enormous number of skill sets. You know, I'm not sure that I could meet these requirements or expectations. It says up there it's posted 30 plus days. Do you draw any conclusions from that
Yeah,
then?
if something's being 30 plus days, odds are they're really driving home that they want as many of those requirements as possible, and they're going to be waiting a while to find somebody. So,
I kind of
um,
feel like this looks like a fishing hook to me. You know, it's
mm,
they're trying to look for the big fish in the pond, right?
yeah.
They may not be able. They may not actually be too serious about a
But I
random.
will.
Yeah.
I will add in here that if there's like 6 key requirements, you hit 4 of them and nobody else does, you have a pretty good chance of landing that job. So just to put that
Right.
out there.
Great. Let's take a look at Career Builder.
All right. Once again, this one was posted by Michael Page. Michael Page is actually another recruitment firm. So, you know, you see here with these mid-tier requirements, you probably will run into more recruitment firms just because they're looking for a more specialized skill set and they don't want to have to dig through a whole pile of applications. So it's like, you know, it's a good filter to, you know, remove people from the application pool who aren't qualified. So for this project here, you're going to be leading project development. You're going to mentor less experienced engineers. You're going to manage larger strategic projects. You're going to transfer the product from one facility to another. You're going to communicate with customers, deal with quotes, attend meetings, do presentations. You're going to juggle a couple projects at the same time. You're going to guide the drafting, manufacturing quality. You're going to oversee product certification. You're going to support the product. This is basically a product engineer position. And it does sound like you may have some junior engineers assisting with you, but basically you're going to deal with the whole life cycle of a product. We notice here in the light blue, if you can see it, it says that it takes place in the aerospace and aviation industry. So we don't know exactly what, you know, which company it is, but at least we know what field it's in. One thing to notice here is that in the green, you see there's a 25% travel requirement. Most likely that is to meet with customers and vendors, you know, suppliers to purchase parts or components and to make sales. So, you know, that would be an aspect of the job you'd have to be comfortable dealing with. And another thing there's another requirement here that wasn't on the other ones, and it mentions ITAR. Now, ITAR is it's a list of rules you have to follow for dealing with military components. And usually ITAR means that you have to be a permanent resident or a U.S. citizen. So there's probably no visa sponsorship for this position. So just one thing to note. They are requiring a mechanical or electrical engineering bachelor's, 5 years experience. And one thing that's a bit interesting is that it does say some light physical efforts required up to 15 pounds. So it's possible you'll be doing some work in a lab perhaps and have to move some equipment around. And even underneath there in the work environment, it's a standing, sitting, reaching, bending, moving manufacturing environment. So this is not going to be your traditional desk job where you're only sitting on a computer. You're going to be up moving around, you know, probably checking out manufacturing lines and perhaps, you know, setting up something for testing.
So Kevin, I noticed that they don't list a job salary here. They just say excellent base salary. What do you make of that?
I mean, it's anyone's guess.
Yeah.
It probably means there's a large salary range, and they may be looking for, you know, if you're more experienced, they may offer you more money than somebody with less. But that's one of those things that you probably wouldn't know until after you get past the staffing agency filter and we're forwarded on to the employer.
All right, great. Thanks so much. Okay, thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much for your insight. So I did a little bit of research for everybody on what kind of salaries we can expect for mechanical engineering positions. Now, these are positions that actually have mechanical engineering somewhere in the title or classification for the job. You know, just an FYI, when I started working, my classification was systems engineer. Now, Bureau of Labor Statistics has about a dozen different kinds of classifications for different engineering positions. So you might be working in a position that's the mechanical engineering, but it's not categorized that way by a Bureau of Labor Statistics. So this only applies to those that BLS has certified saying these are mechanical engineering positions. So overall, the big picture in architecture and engineering in that category of employment for the United States, about 1.8% of the population that's employed, that is, has that title. In New Haven, in the greater New Haven, which is the region of all the towns around New Haven, only 1.3%. So the number of engineers regionally is significantly lower than national. In the United States, the average salary is about $90,000 a year, where in New Haven, the average salary is actually about $5,000 more, about $95,000, and that's everybody, the very experienced person and the beginner average together, to give you an idea. So significantly better salary. And then Kevin made an interesting point as we are looking through this stuff, which is cost of living. We're certainly in the higher cost of living area, so the 5% may offset that a little bit when you look at stats. Now, what about New Haven? So this is what Bureau of Labor Statistics calls New Haven, all of those different towns that you can take a look at. Now, for all jobs in New Haven that are categorized for BLS, they're 270,000 roughly. That's not a lot of jobs, so I kind of feel that we're missing quite a few people in the workforce for all job titles, but that's what the data set says. For engineers, that's 3,500 engineers in all of those areas. For mechanicals in the greater New Haven, it only lists 470. I'm not sure about that number. It's, again, one of those things of job titles, and they actually don't report any details, so I suspect that might be tied to some of our military people around here, and they just don't report that because they're asked not to. In terms of all job titles in greater New Haven area, the salaries, the mean salary is 62,000 roughly, but you can use the 10th percentile and 90th percentile to get a good estimate of where the beginners are and where the senior experienced people are. So if you're a beginner overall in greater New Haven in all different fields, secretary, whatever those jobs are, your beginning salary is $25,000 a year. That's poverty line. That's pretty bad, right? But if you're, 20, 30 years experience, you can go all the way up to 111,000. So some of those jobs, the 90th percentile is very high overall. But architects and engineers, our 10th percentile, our starting point for all different engineering disciplines is 53,000 in the greater New Haven area, much, much better as you'd expect. And our 90th percentile, that is a very senior person experienced, is over 140,000 a year. After 20 years experience, that's what you should be making. These stats are available online. They publish them. This is from the 2020 publication that you can download, though good luck trying to find it. It took me a while to dig out the data sets that I could use. Now, I couldn't get any detail on New Haven for mechanical, so I stepped back to Connecticut, to the state. But the BLS does have regional statistics for every metropolitan region in the United States. New Haven just is too small, I guess, for them to publish the data. But if you go to Boston or if you go to New York City or others, you can see a nice distribution. All the data sets are there. So in Connecticut, architectures and engineering people, there are about 36,000 jobs. The mean income is about 94,000. The starting salary, 55, is over 55, and the 90th percentile is close to 140. For mechanicals in Connecticut, there are over 5,000 that are identified. I guess a lot of them outside greater New Haven in this particular case, since it's 470 in New Haven. The starting salary is almost 66,000. That's 10%. That's the 10th percentile. So that is the high end of the starting salary, perhaps. But the 60s is an expectation. You should be somewhere in there, maybe a little bit lower, maybe a bit lower for the low cost job, but somewhere around 60 starting. And then the high end, the 90th percentile, you go up to about 140, which is excellent. That's nice and consistent with what you'd expect. So those data sets are available. You can take a look at it. They also project what's going to happen in the future. Good luck making sense out of it. I've looked at their data sets many years, for over many decades, and I've never really trusted their projections, but it's fun to look at them. So in 2020, they projected that by 2030, there would be a 7% growth. They probably, this is after COVID started, so I'm not sure if they included that or not. 7% growth in jobs up to 320,000. So they don't see the number of jobs in mechanical engineering dropping at all. In fact, they think they're going to continue to grow. So the outlook for the United States is pretty good. In fact, I was just there today looking at it. And, mean pay for the 2020, 90,000, entry-level bachelor's degree on the job training, number of jobs, blah, blah, blah. There it is. And exactly the stuff that I've just been talking about. Okay, so the interesting thing, if you dig into the data sets and you actually ask, okay, this growth of 7%, exactly what are you basing that on? So if you look, they actually give two different reasons. One, they say that there's going to be increased automation. That's the first green highlight. Automation, machinery, automated processes lead to increased demand for high-skilled laborers. This means moving manufacturing that can be moved back into the United States in a highly automated and very efficient manner. So you're looking at very high automation levels and all run by a bunch of engineers. And they're saying that's going to apply to the commercial industry, machinery manufacturing, metalworking, engine, turbine, transmissions, general machinery manufacturing, and even what I thought was interesting was railroads. They're actually projecting growth in building of railroad materials, so railroad machinery. So that is interesting, perhaps with high costs in oil, that maybe that was a reasonable one. The second thing that they identify as the major one is the EVs, the electric vehicle market, thinking that the demand for EVs is increasing and the mechanicals are going to be needed because these companies are producing their parts domestically. And that is actually very consistent with what I've heard. I've seen a couple of those little companies that start out in California developing their own EVs, and they're actually building, some of these companies are building their own motors, building their own controls, and they have 100% control over everything, and they don't want to give away control, or more importantly, they don't want to give away the intellectual property to China if they move production over to China, because China requires you to sign over all kinds of intellectual property rights, and they can basically take advantage of whatever you're producing there. They can go ahead and copy it, produce it, and you don't get to say anything about it. So a lot of companies don't want to go through that. They want to go ahead and produce it themselves here. So I can see that definitely is going to be a demand in the future. Very interesting for that. Now we're going to switch over. We have Dina Walensky with us from the Career Development Center. So I will stop my sharing and stop my presentation. And Dina, if you pin your video and share your screen, you can go ahead and answer any questions people have about the Career Development Office, applying for careers and so forth. Yep.
And sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yep.
You're just fine.
Okay, thank you. I actually just want to share a few resources. As you were going through the presentation, I made some notes to myself of some additional resources that could help in your job search. One of them is ChargerLink. So ChargerLink is the university's job and internship database. And in that system, you can complete your profile and then you match with opportunities based on your career goals. So that's something specific to the University of New Haven, where employers contact us and say, we want to hire University of New Haven students. So that's a resource that's available to all of you. Not only can you look for jobs and internships, but you can upload your resume and cover letter for us to review as well.
So if there's our Fairfield guests or Yale guests or our professional membership guests, there are other resources like that. Check your university. They'll have similar support structure for you, I'm sure.
Absolutely. So other universities, pretty much every university that I know of has a job search board of some sort. So take advantage of those for sure. And for the University of New Haven students, we also email out a biweekly jobs notice to all College of Engineering students. So that's something else for you. And also through LinkedIn, we have a University of New Haven Career Connect group that you can.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yep. So it's run by our office. And we post positions to that quite frequently. So
can recent alums join that?
I'm sorry?
Can recent alums join that, Dina?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. So alums, current students, and again, other universities might have something similar to that. But using the alumni function in LinkedIn is really helpful because you can search out University of New Haven alumni or, whatever school you're from, and see different individuals who are alums that are working in the field you're interested in, and then you can connect that way too, which is nice. It's a warmer connection as opposed to a random person. So that's something you can consider. So that's it.
Okay. Did anybody here want to ask any questions?
Hi, this is Dina. I had a question.
Yeah.
Ac- Actually, this is Nadeem. I'm an international student over here.
Mhm.
So, right in India, I have a 4 years of experience in HVAC. Recently, I got a connection with a HVAC company, which is Sun Zero Solar, and doing HVAC work. So, what I mean, owner of that company is saying that he will be giving me a letter for the internship during my summer break. Actually, this is my first semester, so so can I do my internship after completing my 10 credits? And even he's asking me to get the letter signed from the chair of the mechanical engineering. So is it possible, or I need to complete 20 credits? That is because I need clarification regarding this.
Yep. So I would suggest reaching out to University Immigration Services just to make sure that you are eligible to do an internship right now based on being an international student. That would be the first step. And then you'd also have to consult with your faculty advisor to make sure everything's all set in that way too. But maybe start with University Immigration Services.
So
to go-
graduate student office is where the representative is there. Yeah. There'll be a representative there. Dina, do you see any specific companies that are looking for people nowadays? You see a specific company that is growing, or a number of companies or type of field right now that in job postings?
Yeah, I mean, it's really all over. We see a lot with solar kind of coming up, a lot of engineering for solar, a lot of the government agencies. Lockheed Martin always seems to be hiring. Eversource is one, Avangrid, a lot of the biomedical organizations are hiring a lot. So really, we see very strong hiring in pretty much all of the engineering disciplines. It's a profession that we rarely see students coming back to us after they graduate and say, I can't find a job. Like, that doesn't happen for our engineering students. So the job market is great.
Yeah, excellent. That's great news.
Yeah.
Is there anybody here in the lab? We're doing this in our laboratory, in our thermofluid laboratory. Anybody like to ask the associate director of career development any questions? Can I get help on? Yeah, I have an interview coming up. Can I get help and guidance? No. All right. Well, all right. You have a chance. Dina, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
You're
At least they
welcome.
know your name, so they can contact you. And for those of you from Fairfield or Yale or others, or our professional section, the universities, you have your own university offices you can talk to. For the professional organizations, there's actually career advice on each of the 5 different search areas. They actually can give you some career advice. They have lots of documents that you can look through. And you can always contact Kevin or the ASME New Haven professional section if you want some advice from us, though I'm not sure how useful that is. All right. Thank you so much, Dina.
Thank you. It's nice seeing you all.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and present again just quickly as we're going to start wrapping this up. So, Kevin, you want to talk about our contact info?
Yep. So we're on social media. You can reach us on Facebook, LinkedIn. We are working on a website, but it's still under construction. We also have an ASME group page at community.asme.org. So you have multiple ways to get in contact with us. I forgot to add it to the PowerPoint, but I did put it in the chat. Our email is asmenewhaven@gmail.com. And if you do want to get involved in the professional section, please reach out to us on either social media or the email, and or if you just want to get on our mailing list, or you want it basically on social media, we do post upcoming events. So if you want to get like an early heads up, I mean, we do send it out via email, but sometimes if you want to, see a flyer or something, social media is a good way to follow us and to get that info. So.
And you got to be 21 if you're going to join the beer tour we're going to set up. So.
Yeah, announcement for that should be coming out soon.
Yeah. So if you had to be 21 to join the beer tour, that we're gonna schedule soon. All right, thank you everybody for attending. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Matt. Thank you all attendees and participants. Okay, hope that was helpful for everybody.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Dina. Have a good night.
Okay, good night, everyone.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye, Kevin. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Good
night.
night, Matt. Good night, Matt. Thank you, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Good night,
Hey,
Professor.
Sidi. Hey, Sidi, say hey. Take care. That was our regional